Hey everyone, it's Paul with another Tuesday video. So incredible stock that I want to tell you about today, and let's get right to it. All right, so the reason, I'll read this in a second, but the reason to focus on, not Tesla, but energy stock is that I've been noticing that the prices of sort of new energy stocks are starting to lift. And so this week, I wanted to talk about my number one, not Tesla energy stock. Many of you may not even think of Tesla as being an energy stock, but truth is that they got a pretty big energy business, which is not talked about. But that's not the subject of this video. But before I do get to the subject of this video, my usual disclaimer that this video and any of the content material from my company, ATG Digital Media, Twitter, Substack, all the other content platforms, not investment advice. Second, past performance does not equal or guarantee or certify future results. Errors, mistakes, oversights, always possible because we are regular human people. Capital loss is a likely outcome. In other words, consider the fact that you might lose money if you choose to act on any of the information, opinion in any of our content. Last, I, the owners, contractors, employees, and associates of ATG Digital Media own, trade, transact in the investments that are mentioned in this video and our content. All right, cutting straight to the chase, no teasing here. So the number one non-Tesla energy stock, dropped one of my next slide, so I'm gonna have to like bend down and pick it up. All right, is Plug Power, PLUG. It's about a $10 stock, market capitalization of 6.22 billion. Now, those of you who were with me at Banyan might remember, like, Plug Power was our very first 1000% winner. And we rode that thing and 1000%, then it went a little bit higher. And I think we came back another time and made money and again. And it's looking like it's time to buy Plug Power again. Before I can tell you about that, I got to bend down and grab this. All right. This is an ad for ATG Digital Media. That's actually the website, atgdigital.media. What we offer are paid subscriptions. We have multiple tiers, but the cheapest tier starts at $9.99. That would be different from $999. $9.99 per month. And what do we offer for that? Well, you get stock and crypto picks focused on innovation and growth. We do updates. I talk about sort of what's going on in the market, how it affects what might be happening for our stocks and crypto. And then I have a Substack, which is completely free. Substack does actually offer a paid version, but we have kept our Substack free. So you can check out and see like, hey, what is this Paul dude all about? What are this innovation growth stocks and, all about? What's happening in that market. My amazing, incredible team, including Dan and Dean, they actually often profile some of our stocks. So you get a taste of the kinds of investments that we focus on. All right, getting back to the subject of this video. So why Plug now? Well, one thing that I noticed when they last reported is that their sales growth has now been accelerating for 4 quarters straight. And you can see that from the chart that Dean's going to put up. Dean, you can go ahead and put that up. And it's 21%, 31%, 36%, 49%. That's a big deal. In my experience from being a growth investor, when you see that growth rate rising, there's a couple of things. Number one, the market wants companies that are growing their growth rate, and they will pay very high multiples for that. So that's observation number one. Second is that when you see that, it is an indication that the company has something going on. Their market is getting hot. Their product is in rising demand. That's why they're able to report it. And oftentimes it leads to continuation of this, which then gets more investors interested that come to bid the stock price up. So I looked at that and I was like, whoa, that's 4 quarters in a row. And then, of course, after they reported, after Plug Power being in a downtrend for nearly, like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, the stock like popped higher. That's a signal too, which is that the investors, they care. They care about this. The other thing that was interesting from reading their report, their quarterly report, is that for the first time that I can remember, they're talking about looking for non-dilutive ways to fund their future projects. And we're going to put that little snippet up from their quarterly report. Dean, you can put that up. And then here's why this is important. Go and look at this. I mean, 5 years ago, Plug Power had 214 million shares, something like that. And now they have 600 million shares. In other words, they have been issuing a lot of shares to fund their plans. I mean, it takes money to put up these plans, and you can't generate revenue until you put up the plan. So you got to get it from somewhere, and they have stayed debt-free, but they have, quote unquote, really diluted the stock, and that's mattered during periods when their growth goes down and investors don't want to own the stock. They sell it. There's a lot of shares out there, and that causes the stock price to go down extra hard. The other thing as to why Plug Power now is that gross margin, which is something that most people don't talk about. However, for companies that have these big plants, and Plug Power puts up these plants, and they cost hundreds of millions of dollars to put up, and then as you start to run them, initially they're not very profitable because it takes a little bit of time to sort of like cycle through to the point where they are operating at their peak efficiency. So the way you can understand how well they're doing and how close they are to their peak efficiency is by monitoring their gross margin. Now, when you first get started, like, nothing is optimal. So, Plug Power has put up a lot of new plans. And so they've gone from last year, this time, they were at negative 34% gross margin. I mean, that's like, just on a base level, they were losing money. But now it's down to 29%. And this, from having invested in companies like Plug Power, and it's similar in some ways to semiconductor companies that also run their businesses, with these big plants. In other words, the volume matters, because the more you put through, it pays for the cost of operating the plant, which is mostly fixed. And then everything starts to drop to the bottom line. So this trend, from what I have seen from being invested in these sort of like big plant companies, cyclical companies, very capital intensive companies, that gross margin is often a signal, and the stock often pops, when they provide that signal. And once again, this quarter, you saw that happening. And in my experience, once you see that, the stock starts to move and starts to move higher. And we've seen that. Plug, was at about $7, which was its lowest price in nearly 2 years, $7. And it's now at $10. And if my understanding of what is going on is right, well, it's setting up to move, and it'll move higher because the growth rates will go up. The gross margin will start to rise towards something that's positive. Investors will start to get excited about the growth, excited about the potential for profits coming. There's fewer shares in the market, and we're starting from a cheap point, which is that the price to sales for Plug Power is 7, which is the lowest it's been in a year. It's actually the lowest it's been in longer than that, but the record is not continuous, so I can't show you a chart, but it is very low relative to anything that it's traded at recently. So it looks cheap. And then the other thing that I have noticed is that there is a bid forming. In other words, investors, big money investors, traders, everybody is starting to get interested in new energy, alternative energy after 1.5, sort of 2 years. You can see that uranium stocks are starting to pick up. There's lithium stocks that are beginning to pick up. The sort of solar stocks are beginning to pick up. And that's simultaneous with oil price, going under 70. And that's pointing to the stock market saying, hey, we think like, the oil trade is over. We want to get in somewhere else. And they're starting to come at these new energy names like Plug. So that's a sort of like a stock market trigger or indication, that they're going to come and, when they find things that are cheap, that are growing, rising profitability, potential for lots of positive catalysts. Those are the types of stocks that folks tend to come and buy and bid up big. And we know that Plug Power, in surge mode and rocket mode, can really move up really, really fast. So that's the video for this week. Very quick, very succinct, big word for Plug Power. Hope you liked it. If you did, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Check out atgdigital.media or my Substack. And hey, thanks for watching. This is Paul saying bye.